Debts. Daddy is thinking of taking a loan from Mr. Roosevelt and his men to get some new wheat planted, where the winter crop has spindled out and died. Mr. Roosevelt promises Daddy won't have to pay a dime till the crop comes in. Daddy says, I can turn the fields over, start again. It's sure to rain soon. Wheat's sure to grow. Ma says, what if it doesn't? Daddy takes off his hat, roughs up his hair, puts the hat back on. Course it'll rain, he says. Ma says, Bae, it hasn't rained enough to grow wheat in 3 years. Daddy looks like a fight brewing. He takes that red face of his out to the barn to keep from feuding with my pregnant Ma. I ask Ma, how, after all this time, Daddy still believes in rain. Well, it rains enough, Ma says, now and again to keep a person hoping. But even if it didn't, your Daddy would have to believe. It's coming on spring, and he's a farmer. March 1934.
Is that when we watched that video?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been trying to connect it, you know.
Connect the dots.
Foul as maggoty stew. What do y'all think? Does maggoty stew, that be gross?
Terrible stew.
Okay.
Like stew. It's stew.
I don't know. Let's see.
Like you're stirring your stew.
Arlie Wanderdale said, the rehearsals for Sunny of Sunnyside shouldn't take me out of school more than twice next week. When I told Ma, she got angry about my missing school to play piano for some show. Me and Daddy, we're trying our best to please Ma for fear of what it might do to the baby if we don't. I don't know why she's so against my playing. She says that school is important, but I do all right in school. I know she doesn't like the kind of music I play, but sometimes I think she's just plain jealous when I'm at the piano and she's not. And maybe she's a little afraid of me going somewhere with the music she can't follow, or of the music taking me so far away one day, I'll never come home. Whatever the reason, she said I couldn't do it. Arlie had to get somebody to take my place. I do as she says. I go to school, and in the afternoons I come home, run through my chores, do my reading and my math work at the kitchen table, and all the while I glare at Ma's back with a scowl, foul as maggoty stew.
I was right.
March 1934. So she's mad at her mom, right?
I didn't mad at my mom like this. So maggoty stew gets you really mad?
I guess so. State tests. What do y'all know about state tests?
It's like the STAR test.
Right, so you can tell they've been going on for a long time, right?
It's hard and it's the worst thing. The state test is like the STAR test.
Correct.
And I bet you.
All right, here we go. State tests. When I got home, I told Ma our school scored higher than the whole state on achievement tests, and I scored top of 8th grade. Ma nodded. I knew you could. That's all she said. She was proud, I could tell, but she didn't coo like Mad Dog's Ma or go on like Mrs. Killian used to do. Daddy says, that's not your Ma's way, but I wish it was. I wish she'd give me a little more to hold on to then. I knew you could. Instead, she makes me feel like she's just taking me in like I was so much flannel dry on the line. March 1934. So is there a little bit of conflict between Billy Joe and her mom? Yeah. Fields of flashing light. I heard the wind rise and stumbled from my bed, down the stairs, out the front door, into the yard. The night sky kept flashing. Lightning danced down on its spindly legs. I sensed it before I knew it was coming. I heard it, smelled it, tasted it. Dust. While Ma and Daddy slept, the dust came, tearing up fields where the winter wheat, set for harvest in June, stood helpless. I watched the plants, surviving after so much drought and so much wind. I watched them fry, or flatten, or blow away, like bits of cast-off rags. It wasn't until the dust turned toward the house like a fired locomotive, and I fled, barefoot and breathless, back inside. It wasn't until the dust hissed against the windows, until it ratcheted the roof, that Daddy woke. He ran into the storm, his overalls half hooked over his union suit. Daddy, I called, you can't stop dust. Ma told me to cover the beds, push the scatter rugs against the doors, dampen the rags around the windows, wiping dust out of everything. She made coffee and biscuits waiting for Daddy to come in. Sometime after 4, rubbing low on her back, Ma sank down into a chair at the kitchen table and covered her face. Daddy didn't come back for hours. Not until the temperature dropped so low, it brought snow. Ma and I sighed, grateful, staring out at the dirty flakes. But our relief didn't last. The wind snatched that snow right off the fields, leaving behind a sea of dust. Waves and waves and waves of dust, rippling across our yard. Daddy came in. He sat across from Ma and blew his nose. Mud streamed out. He coughed and spit out mud. If he had cried, his tears would have been mud too. But he didn't cry, and neither did Ma. March 1934.
That's hard.
That's harsh, right? So now we made it to the next section in the book, spring of 1934, which will start on Monday.
Oh, my God. Mud goes out of your